Right. Hello. Good evening, everybody. As promised, we are now live. I've got a special guest tonight. We've got Yaya Rudo, who is going to be speaking about something that is a little bit foreign for most of us, myself included. And I have not even managed to set any questions with regards to this subject. So it's going to be a very interesting thing for us to really learn today. And this is quite important, especially for people that are in business. You're looking to get into any business, you're an entrepreneur, you're an employee, you're an employer, and so on and so forth. We're going to learn quite a lot from Rudo today. And I'm actually looking forward to this conversation. Hello, Rudo. How are you doing?
I am so excited to be here, Tendai. How are you?
Fantastic. No, I'm great. I'm the one who is extremely excited, to be honest with you, because this subject, I think, is going to catch me more than anybody else listening to this. Fantastic. So, yeah, we just need to know a little bit more about who Yaya Rudo is. Now, what do you do? If you can maybe explain or sort of describe to us who this woman really is.
Okay. I am Yaya Rudo. I was born and bred in Mutara in a small township called Angamvula.
Mhm.
And yeah, I grew up with the passion to teach people. And I started talking about etiquette purely by chance.
Mhm.
Growing up in Dangamvura, going to college, and eventually joining the corporate world,
Mhm.
I found myself, you know, interacting with people who I would say were way above me. But
Mhm.
more importantly, I realized that I was either messing up or making poor decisions and poor choices
Mhm.
unknowingly. Even though I was gifted, even though I was a good manager or supervisor, there was always something missing there. And I realized that it was all around etiquette.
Mhm.
So etiquette means manners, you know, good
Okay.
morning, thank you. Those basic manners, the manners that we got, that we taught as children,
Mhm.
they also extend from that family level or community level into the business world. And because now I was working with diplomats and international organizations, at the same time, I had not been groomed or prepared emotionally to work with such group of people. So can you just imagine that I'm saying a kid from Tanganyika? Do you know Mutari?
Yeah, I know Mutare a little bit, and I know Dangamvura. You're very right.
You see,
Those
you
dusty
know the
roads.
life in the township where everyone knows everybody's business.
Yes.
You are a child who belongs to everyone. The woman next door can come and beat you up if you are naughty, or ground you if you are naughty. We played by different rules in the township. So I just pretty much took that township girl right into the corporate world, right to the dinner table with a diplomat. And that's where I realized that I was always messing up in one way or the other. So I discovered that there is etiquette that needs to be learned. And ironically or sadly, there was pretty much etiquette for everything. There was
Mhm.
etiquette for dinner when we had dinner with clients, etiquette when we visited them when they were not well, etiquette when we went to their funerals. There was etiquette for pretty much everything. And the people who teach us manners are our primary caregivers.
Mhm.
So, for example, if your mom has not been on the plane, she cannot teach you etiquette on the plane because she has never been there. As
Yeah.
much as she loves you, she can't teach you because she has never been there.
Mhm.
If your primary caregiver has never been to a boardroom, how can they teach you about the boardroom? So it means for us coming from the township, and I'm sure I represent a lot of other people,
Oh yeah.
we had to learn on the go. And unfortunately, it involved some embarrassing situations, but we had to learn on the go because it was a new place, a new platform, but we had to learn. There was no time to cry and mourn about your mistakes. You mess up and then you realize, oh, okay, so you don't do that. Oh, okay, so you don't blow your nose in public. Oh, okay, so I don't tell everyone about such matters. And then you just kind of learn on the go.
Wow, this is quite interesting. It seems like it's going to be very much action-packed conversation, because the reason for that is because it's quite a broader topic to look at. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I've realized, especially visiting home and stuff like that, I've realized that there is a little bit of difference on how we sort of handle ourselves in public, especially in Africa. And not only that, even if you visit a shop, um, our people that do sell on the streets, there
Mm-hmm.
is some sort of mannerisms that really need to be, to be looked into. And the reason for that is because maybe these are some of the topics that we never discussed when we were younger, because um, we didn't see any reason as to why we should do that. I've seen etiquette being taught as a subject in private schools. So you're looking at
Mm-hmm.
places like Dominican convent, I think, and you're looking at some private schools like in the UK and stuff like that. I've seen etiquette being taught as a subject. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in Dangamvura or some of the areas that we might speak about, especially the ghetto or townships, if you want to call them, it's very rare for us to have an opportunity to learn about this very important subject that we are talking about today. Now, we just need you maybe to take us through some of these skills that we would like to sort of embrace, especially when we are in various different types of places that we do visit on a daily basis. So it requires, I understand, some sort of adjustment, you know, every single minute that you're moving from one place to the other. If it's totally different, it's got a different etiquette that you need to adhere to. You're getting onto a bus, you need to adhere to a certain kind of skill. If you're getting onto a train or something like that, or if you're getting onto a public place, you've got a certain set of etiquette that you need to adopt. So if you could actually walk us through, if you don't mind, um, on maybe some of the mannerisms or the manners that we're supposed to be following in any sort of setting, whatever you want to start with.
Okay. Yeah, I think let's start with time,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of us, not just I think most of the African continent, we struggle with time issues. In fact, there's a saying that, when you're invited for dinner and they say it's at 7 p.m., they ask you, is it 7 p.m. or 7 African time? So, assuming that Africans have their own time, and that is wrong. We need to work on our time issues, because they don't only affect us socially, they affect how we are perceived in business. So you find that if you are someone who is always late, it doesn't matter whether it is for church, for a wedding, for a funeral, you are also likely to be late for funerals because you have no respect for time. So it's important for us to really understand the etiquette of time. When we say 8 o'clock, there's only one 8 o'clock. Yes, the time zones may be different, but there's only one 8 p.m., only one 7 a.m. We need to learn to keep time, because sometimes you find that people complain that, you know what, my product is better than that one, my service is better than that one, but people are not coming.
Mm,
Sometimes it's really because we don't know how to manage our time.
mm,
We can't keep time. So if you're not reliable, it doesn't matter how great your product is. If I can't count on you that you will deliver my wedding cake 2 days before, then I'm not going to hire you. I don't want any surprises.
yeah.
If you are fixing my car and you tell me that in 2 days it will be done, if it is not done in 2 days and there's poor communication in between,
Mm,
then I would rather go to somebody else who is not so great. So
mm,
people would rather work with maybe with average talent compared to a genius who cannot keep time.
Wow.
So we need to learn to manage time because it spills over into everything that we do. We are late for our birthday parties. We are late. Our weddings start late. Our funerals start late. It's like nothing starts on time. So we need our church services. They don't start on time. They don't end on time. So we we are passing this information, this behavior to our children as well. That it's okay to arrive at church late. It's okay to arrive at a wedding, at a funeral late. So, but suddenly, when you are at the workplace, you think you organize around time. No, it's poor etiquette. We need to understand that managing time can cost you a relationship, even boyfriend and girlfriend kind of relationship.
Mm,
In fact, that let me tell you, sorry, let me digress a bit. I
mm,
started talking about time when I was dating my husband
mm.
because I was late for for 2 dates in a row, back to back.
Yeah.
And at that time, they didn't have cell phones. It was in 1993, 1994, somewhere there. We had a date to watch a movie. I was late the first time. I was late the second time. And the second time, he was upset. He was annoyed. And coming from the ghetto, I was thinking, just being late, what's the problem? Does it matter? Because growing up, it was not something that was hammered on, that we must keep time. So I was translating it into my relationship. And, you know, my husband is also a rural boy, but he had been exposed to life outside Africa, and somehow that bit had been polished. So it's a rural boy, but who is able to manage his time. So it is costly, even to relationships.
Mm. Wow. This is this is quite important. I wish if everybody that I work with would listen to this, because the most important thing, or the most important asset that we have, is time.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are talking of time, we are not only talking of time being on time when you're coming to an event or anything of that nature. It's just how to use it as well. Now
Exactly.
there is various other areas that we can look into, in trying to sort of find out exactly how time affect lives. Time is something that is sort of a very thin line between life and death. Time. That's the reason why you hear that, when somebody has got epilepsy or suffering from epilepsy, or any other disease of sort, the doctors or the medical personnel should have to arrive on a certain time for them to be able to revive that person. They would say that, if you were only late 10 seconds, this person would have died, or would have maybe, the situation would have gotten worse, that they wouldn't have recovered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all to do with the time element. And that's arriving late, and also being able to use it even in our lives as well on a daily basis. How do you use
Mm-hmm.
your time? Now, I've discussed this with quite a lot of people, I think, on this platform. Two or three guys that came through on Elevation. I'm very much interested in wanting to know, um, how we do it in Africa and how things are done, like in the first world countries. If you were to sort of look into the difference between the two, you'd realize that the first world countries, they use their time well than we
Mm-hmm.
in Africa. Now, we are not only talking of, turning up late. We are talking about you leaving your home to get to town. um, it will take you almost about an hour when in bed traffic for you to be able to get there and do whatever you want to do. When you get to work as well, people are not performing as they're supposed to perform. They don't see the essence of time because it's something that hasn't been taught. So we seem to be losing a lot of time more than anything in Africa, which is actually dragging us back in terms of our economy and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
How do we really utilize time? How do we use it on the daily basis? Um, Now we were talking about, technology. Okay, what technology does, it stops you from wasting your time 1 hour or 3 hours, or let's say 4 hours to go to Bulawayo
Mm.
the day before your meeting. The time that you've used on the way to go to Bulawayo and the time that you're going to use on your way back to Mtare or to Harare is wasted time, basically. Now with our internet, now with internet and telephones, you're able to have the conversation that you would have done rather than saving you from traveling all the way to Blawayo for a meeting. You can simply do it without even wasting any more time. The time that you would have traveled is the time that you
Mm.
actually used productively for yourself. So really this time issue is something that is very critical. It needs to be discussed at a higher level, but we need to start from the bottom, going up to say, do you really understand the essence of time? Because
Mm.
you see it at the top is usually about being late in meetings. But at the bottom is a total different story. It's a totally different story, you know? It's just how we use it. Hanging around on that corner of the street and not utilizing your time for something else, then you don't know how much time you're losing, you know? Employees, for example, before we move on to the next one,
Mm.
employees, I always tell my MD, Lynette, I always speak to her about, about time in the sense of life, right?
Mm.
So every single time when you are paid on an hourly, they are not paying for time per se. They are paying for a bit of your life, right?
Wow.
They're paying
Yeah,
for,
that's powerful. I like that.
yeah, that's what they're paying for.
A
It's
bit
not
of
like,
your life.
yeah,
Mm.
they're paying for your life. They're paying for a piece of your life. So that means
Mm.
every single time you lose a certain hour or 2 hours or whatever, you've lost a bit of your life. So take a sausage, for example. Every single time you chop a piece, that's the shortening of your life. So
Mm.
sausage, um, as your life span or your life, yeah, your lifespan, to say the least. If you cut
Mm.
a little piece, cut a little piece, cut a little piece. That's exactly how employees operate. And that's why people always say, they were talking about slavery. If you're talking about slavery, you're talking about people that are going to be used as assets to sort of add time to somebody who has got more power. So it's like, I don't have time, right, to do all this. This is a business person. I don't have time to do all this. My time is limited. I only got about 40 years, 50 years to live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy part of your life so that I can do things quicker within my lifetime. That's what time is all about. So there you go. You can go on. I think this is something that I'm passionate about. You might need to come and we discuss this a little bit further, but we can continue.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned about employees because there are people who have missed opportunities to be promoted because they are just not good timekeepers.
Hmm.
The organization cannot count on them. And sadly, like I was saying, you need to address the issues around time right from the root. Because a lot of people would say traffic, traffic, but now that meetings are on Zoom, you find those people are still coming to the Zoom meeting late, just as much as they're still going to church late in online church.
Hmm.
So we have to address it really from the root. What are we doing? Why are we wasting time? Why are we not appreciating the value of time? And more importantly, what messages are we sending to our children about time?
Wow, fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
So what should we do, Rudo? What do you think people need to learn? What do you think are the lessons that people need to pick up in terms of time?
But I think a platform like this, like what you are doing now, just allowing anybody to come in and contribute to changing the mindset, it will help in the long term. Because
Okay.
sometimes we don't understand the impact of these time issues until we lose a deal or we lose a customer.
Hmm.
But then it will be too late. So hopefully, when we have conversations like this, it will start to prepare us to make small changes. Because even in our private lives, when you are the aunt in your family, when you are the sekuru, when you are the murora, you start playing that part that our weddings here in this family start on time. Our birthday parties will start on time. Our funerals will start on time. Let's start there where we have total control and we continue to build it into the business.
Hmm.
Because it's very difficult to be one person socially and one person in the business as far as time is concerned.
Wow. So, are you doing any, training of sorts to various businesses and so on and so forth with regards to issue of etiquette of time?
Yes, yes, I do. It has been stopped and slowed down by the lockdown, obviously.
Mm,
But in my private space, the talks, my highest selling talk is when I'm invited to talk to soccer teams, high school students, women, men
mm.
about etiquette. Yeah. So I'm happy that people are warming up to it and
Mhm.
unlearning and learning in the process.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Now
Yeah.
we've spoken about etiquette of time. Now let's talk about mannerisms or manners, I should say. Um, this is bad, and I've seen a lot of people saying, customer service in Zimbabwe is bad. Customer service in South Africa is terrible.
Mhm.
I've been on the at the border posts in South Africa some time ago, and I was trying to speak to the person on the other side of the counter, and she's been busy on her phone, like
Mm.
typing and laughing at messages and stuff like that, whilst I was waiting to be seen. She was right in
Mm.
front of me, and she was behaving like that, and I was thinking, what's going on here? I couldn't say much. I just stood there and just watched until she was ready to address me. But then
Mm.
those are some of the things that you see quite often um, in Africa, mostly because I really advocate for Africa. My aim is to make sure that whatever the shows that we're doing here, they're going to benefit our continent, our people,
Mm.
so that they understand exactly what other people are doing right. And when we do it right, we also be in a position that they are in terms of their economies and stuff like that. It might not look like it is important, but what we're talking about here has got a massive effect on the economy itself, the economy at large. You know, so it might not seem like that, but yeah. So I feel like there are many reasons that need to be addressed. If you can maybe just walk us through that.
Yes, can you just imagine if three, four frontliners, customer care service providers
Mm,
arrive 30 minutes late every day?
mm,
What does it mean to the organization? It means in reality they have over a week they already have about at least 5 hours plus of
mm,
lost time, production time that has been lost because people just don't care about time,
mm,
and it does have economic impact on the business. The bottom line of the business is certainly affected. So I think organizations should take etiquette training as seriously as they do any other form of training.
true.
First of all, because number one, the effect is often hidden.
Mm,
It's not always obvious unless you get one of those clients who comes in and then says, you know what, I've had enough, and they scream and they make noise. But we must understand that most of the time the customer has options. He is not going to be shouting and train and asking that you train your people. They will just leave and
mm.
go to the next service provider.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think corporates must make it a must have. It's almost like what you call it, like orientation
Mm,
when you join a new organization, that
exactly.
you have to understand that the etiquette of time, the etiquette around customer service, what are the do's and don'ts,
Mm.
so that it becomes part of the culture of any corporate entity, not to be firefighting all the time.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I think after this is something that I'm going to also be advocating for, especially for corporates and stuff like that. People like yourselves are a valuable asset, you know. And I wish if corporates would know that, because at the end of the day, they're losing, or we are losing a lot of money. I've got a company, I run a company in Zimbabwe, and most of what I do is to deal with customers on a daily basis.
Mm.
So understanding the efficacy of time and also understanding how to behave, or the manners in which you speak to your customers, is very, very important. You know, you can have the best product in the world, but if
Yeah.
you haven't got good manners, you are bound to lose a lot of customers in the process, and they won't come
Mm.
back because
Yeah.
they go where they're treated very well. You know?
And remember, word of mouth also travels. That those
Yes.
that the frontliners are rude, disrespectful,
Hmm.
they're arrogant. So that will just kill your business without you even knowing it.
Exactly. Even
Yeah.
though you were angry and you didn't manage to control your anger at that only moment, and that
Mm,
did happen, that can
mm,
actually cause a lot of problems in your business. Now, talking about you know being angry and stuff like that. Maybe let's give a scenario where a customer comes into your shop and they did not address you well, or you feel like you haven't been addressed well, or they're being disrespectful. What are some of the what are we supposed to do? You teach us. You teach me as a customer, or as a person who is behind the counter. How should I behave when a customer comes like that?
yeah. I always encourage frontliners to separate themselves from the problem.
Hmm.
Because I think the major problem we have is when someone comes complaining about a product, about the quality of the service, we are quick to be defensive because we think we
Confrontation.
are being attacked in our
Mm,
individual capacity.
mm.
If you are a frontliner, you are going to be talking to 20, 40 people per day, per week. You cannot take everything personally. Unless, of course, you are being attacked in your personal capacity as Yaya Rudo. But if
Mm,
it is about the product or the service, then there should be a clear demarcation between you and that challenge.
mm,
When you are able to step back, it is easier for you to then pull out the areas of concern. And
mhm.
then you will actually be more objective because you are not being part of the problem yourself. You have
Yes.
separated the problem, you have put it there. It's almost like it's there, it's sitting at the table, and you're analyzing it. Is this fair? What was done, was it fair? Is it a feeling? Is it a fact? What are the facts here? What are the feelings?
Mm.
Because sometimes, because the client is unhappy, he comes with more feelings than the actual problem.
Oh, yes.
So when you separate the feelings from the fact, you then start to stimulate and formulate solutions that are fact based, not emotion based, from your part and also from the client's part. So it's always important for you, the frontliner, to make sure that you remain as calm as possible. After all, you may have 7 or 10 clients who are unhappy on the
Mm.
same day. You have to be able to separate yourself. That is the number one thing.
Wow. I've met with confrontations, or a lot of
Mm.
people get met with confrontations. And we also, I think, have to understand one thing, that the person who is behind the counter is not a saint on a daily.
Mhm. Mhm.
It could be maybe they are coming from their day is not going very well. Maybe they've been shouted at home. Maybe it could be that their life is not as what they want it to look. There's so many things that do disturb a lot of people for them to react in a certain manner. So
Sure.
having a customer, if you are really a frontliner, or if you are a teller, you are whatever, you're working behind the counter. We have to understand that you have to restrain, use restraint, be in a position where you don't have to be on a sort of attacking kind of mode. Because at the end of the day, whoever is walking into your shop, they can make or break, whatever it is. You never know whom you are going to be speaking to. And in other words, you might be speaking to someone who is even a boss or a stakeholder of that same company. You might lose your
Yeah.
job in the process, or you might actually be in a position to sort of lose a very important client or an investor in the process. So it's very important to sort of handle ourselves and make sure that things are dealt with the processes that are being put in place by the companies that we work for. And that's another issue that we need to touch on in terms of how companies, what systems the companies are supposed to be putting in place in order to protect the frontliners, or should I say, the people that are working for them. Also, that could stop things to escalate and making the companies to lose out. Don't you think so?
Yeah, look, I'm excited. I'm not sure about Zimbabwe at the moment, but here in South Africa, I find that most modern corporates, they do have the employees tax,
Mm,
and it's even there in the like banking halls or at reception. They make it clear, there are posters all over the place that we stand with our employees. We will not tolerate any
abuse.
rude remarks or disrespect and so forth. So I find that quite comforting. It is there. I've seen it several times here in South Africa.
Fantastic. I like that. I've seen it as well everywhere, mostly in
Mm.
hospitals or something like that. That we don't tolerate any form of abuse and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
In the written format, it actually feels you very comforted as an employee. But
yeah.
then, I think corporates need to go a little bit further and dig and say, even though this one is on the wall, you have to behave in a certain manner.
Of
Because
course,
if
yeah.
you don't, even this person is gonna want to attack you, regardless of having this one. So it doesn't mean that it's actually a protection for you, because you'll be caught
Yeah.
unwanted,
Look, I think that is the assumption that you are also going to be behaving well.
Exactly. With that assumption, yes. With that
Yeah,
assumption, yes.
yeah.
So yeah, more really needs to be done. Yeah, talking about time, and also talking about business etiquette and stuff like that. Let's say I'm going to visit a relative, which is something that a lot of people seem to close the doors or the gates when they know that Bamini is coming. When Babam Nini or my Nini are coming you know from the township, and they're going to let's say to Borodale to visit Murora and Mkoma.
Mhm.
What are the Tell us about the etiquette in that kind of scenario?
Okay, Tendai, sorry, can I just take you back a bit? Can we talk about social media etiquette before we visit the
Yes, yes, let's do that.
Okay,
Let's do that.
just a quick one.
Yeah.
That it's poor etiquette to just add someone into a group, whether it's a minors group or a what business group or social group. I don't want to wake up in some random group.
Wow.
It's poor etiquette. We are stuck in groups that we are too embarrassed to leave because maybe my boss is there or my pastor is there, yeah, or my uncle or my brother-in-law. So we just remain in those groups because we really have no choice. The
I like
proper etiquette is you sent me a message, Yaya, I'm starting this group for minors or entrepreneurs. Do you want to sign up for it? Can I add you? You wait for me to respond, to say yes or no. Then you add me to that group. That's number one, social media etiquette.
that.
Ask for permission first. Number two, when it comes to to social media, call. The fact that we have WhatsApp, which is cheaper, it doesn't mean we can just call anytime. You still need to observe the working hours and the family time
Mm,
slots. So it doesn't matter how urgent it is.
Mm.
Send a message. If I don't reply, don't say I can see you, you're online. Why are you not confirming the order? No.
Right.
It's now 8 o'clock in the evening. It's family time.
Yeah.
Or it's Sunday. It's family time. Because sometimes, as entrepreneurs, as people who are pushing specific projects, will be trying too hard, and we actually, put off the client.
Mm.
Because for an entrepreneur, it's 24/7. You're always working. But the client may value their quality time. So
Mm.
if they don't answer the phone, for example, please don't keep calling 7 times in a row. No. If it's
Mm.
important, they will get back to you. They will get back to you. If they are free, they will get back to you.
Wow.
Mind the times that you call. Here in South Africa, it's 9 to 5. In Zim, I think it's 8 to 5 or somewhere there anyway. Those are the working hours. You are okay to send messages, to send emails, but don't expect people to respond right away.
Mm.
Give them the 24 hours, service level standards. Give them a chance to respond. Don't you be pushing every 5 minutes. How far? How far? I. Poor etiquette.
I'm glad I didn't do that. Otherwise, you'd be bashing me right now. I'm glad. I'm very glad. No, this is
Yeah.
this is this is very interesting, and it's quite a nice lesson, really. Um,
Mm,
I've also learned it doesn't matter here in the UK. You'd realize that even if you owe a company debt, right?
mm.
They call once. They just call once. That's it.
Okay.
They call once. It doesn't matter you owe them how much, whatever it is. If they're calling you, they just call you once. And that's it for that day. They might call you again tomorrow, or they might call you again maybe after 5 days or 6 days. But it is something that people are not, or companies are not allowed to do if you, as the recipient, doesn't want to receive those calls. Right? You've got the right to say, stop calling me.
Wow. That is good. I wish we had that here.
You actually, yeah, you've got the right to say stop calling me. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's all about respect. It boils down to respecting people's time.
Mm,
So we are going back to the issue of time, valuing
mm.
time. You're not this in this instance, you're not valuing your own time, you're valuing somebody else's time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a very, very important aspect that we need to be looking into. I like the fact that you've just mentioned that um, you hear somebody calling you on a Saturday or on a Sunday, and they're saying like how far how
Mm.
how far I've
How
received
far?
a
I'm at
message.
church.
Exactly, because people expect you to answer there and then because they've seen you online. If
Mm,
right now somebody would think that I'm online because I've got my phone connected to my computer, right? My WhatsApp is connected to my computer, so it's active.
mm,
My WhatsApp is active. I'm seen to be online, but I'm not online. I'm actually with
mm.
you right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people would expect that maybe you'd have seen that message and they'd be saying, Anondi, Anondi blue ticker. That's the
Yes.
Anondi blue ticker, but Adiku Pindura and this and that. But at the end of the day, I might
Mm,
be in a situation where maybe I'm driving, right?
mm,
I've just said, let me just check this message quite quickly. I'll once I settle, then I'll respond. Then sometimes because I've got maybe 50 messages in the phone, I might forget, right? But people don't want to
mm,
hear that. They just want you to respond to them because they think
mm.
that they're the only people that are
Yeah.
calling you or sending you messages. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite
Okay.
interesting.
So before we go to the visit, one more thing:
Yes.
the sharing of numbers.
Hmm.
Kungopa vamwe vanhu namba yeumwe munhu. It's poor etiquette. You can't
Without
do that.
asking.
You
Yes.
have to ask me. Tendai is asking for your number. Can I pass on the number? I have to say yes before you do that.
Mm.
And then in the social groups that we make for our gigs and hustles, they always have a theme that they are going with. So it could be, like I said, a miners group. It could be a Bible study group.
Mhm.
It could be a bakers group, the mechanics group, whatever it is that you guys are trying to work on and create wealth in. You have to stick to the theme of that group. Good etiquette requires that you stick to the objectives, the aims of that group. So
Mm.
if we are a group of miners or people who want to go into mining, we discuss mining matters. Don't start telling us about United, Social, what, Arsenal, what things there. No, it's poor etiquette.
I
It's
like,
not
I like,
supposed
I like that. I think it's something that really needs. It will take almost about 2 years for people to listen to that one. I've
to.
seen, I've seen a lot of poor etiquette when it comes to social media groups. Social media groups is
Yeah,
people add you, and you haven't even asked to be added. Also, the issue of just giving other people their number. I mean, your number and stuff like that. I remember, only 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. I'm glad I asked you, and he said, "Okay, the information that we want to show on here." And
yeah,
you
yes.
actually said, you don't usually like to give out your number, which is quite
Mm,
important because we need to be asking those questions before we start giving people the numbers,
mm,
right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's quite important. And also when we are in these groups, honestly, I don't even understand how other people. And they say, this one is not group related. That's the opening statement. I'm sorry, but this one is not group related.
Exactly. So how are you putting it in there?
I'm selling some bags of rice and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is a construction group. There's nothing to do with selling bags of rice. But it happens quite often, and it's poor etiquette.
Yeah. No, no, it's really poor etiquette. Even the sharing, or some people are quite keen to share pictures of accidents, a bus that crashed where, the car that killed four people, and then they just share those pictures just like that in a
Mm,
group that's meant for, I don't know, hockey moms, or the mechanics group, the cake bakers. You just share those pictures. No, it's not right. It's
it's
poor
not good.
etiquette. So let's be sensitive to it, because next time someone is going to come and say, I don't think this is the right platform for this, one will get offended. But it's poor etiquette on their part in the first place.
Mm.
Okay, okay. So now let's move to the home visit.
Yes,
When
let's
we
talk about home
visit
visits.
people, yes, when we visit people at their houses, there is some etiquette to be observed.
Mm,
And once again, you a social being before you become a specialized a miner or engineer or construction guy. You are still Tendai
mm,
before that.
mm.
And we see you visit us and we observe how you behave. And it's important for us to always show manners when we visit. So, number one, because of the Wi Fi movement, people love Wi Fi. You find someone visit before we even tell them that this is your bedroom, before we even take their suitcases to that bedroom, they'll be asking, what is the password code? What is the Wi-Fi code here? Hi. What is the Wi-Fi code? Hatutata makadini, they want the
Hey.
Wi-Fi code.
What a tanda.
No, no, no. It's poor etiquette. You
True.
know, in the diaspora, I'm not sure what it's like your side. Sometimes when things are tight, we just buy Wi-Fi, which is pegged, which means it just lasts for maybe 30 days or 2 weeks, and we save it for homework. The homework these days, you need to be on the
Yes,
internet.
on top of yeah.
So it's not for Facebook and social media things. So when
Mm.
you come and arrive there on Friday and you want the Wi-Fi code, by the time you leave on Sunday, tinenge tatopedza our bundles for that particular city. And that's not right. And you are a visitor. I
Ah,
no. So it's poor etiquette to ask.
mhm.
If the host is not offering you, tough, You are visiting. Let's talk. You didn't come here to be on your phone or on social media.
Mm,
So it's poor etiquette. Don't ask if it is not given to you.
mm, okay,
Yeah.
that's. I think I need to learn. I need to learn that one as well because I usually ask for the Wi-Fi.
Oh, you. Now you're embarrassing me. Please
No, I
go.
don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. But I've seen a lot of people asking for Wi-Fi passwords.
Nah, no, no.
And one of the most interesting things about that is also the fact that I've this is from when I was growing up. I need to clarify that. We were in Harare then, and there were some guys who were digging a mugodi at our
Mhm.
village, and we asked them to come to Harare. I was younger. I think my brother had to ask them to come to Harare to collect their money so that he would actually maybe buy them some clothes whilst they're in Harare because some of them they'd never visited Harare before. So they got onto the bus and we went to pick them up. They came at home and we gave them mazoe.
Mhm.
I can tell you that mazoe bodoro resere 2 liters. It went to almost halfway. And these guys were just pouring and drinking and pouring and drinking,
Oh,
finishing this whatever diluted drink, and then they pour another glass after another glass after another glass. You couldn't say anything. We could not say anything. We just let them do their thing, and nobody said nothing. But then that's one of them things that even though they don't look like something that is very important, these are some of the things that do happen quite often. It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
necessarily mean that drinking down the whole mazoe bottle, but there are other scenarios which are similar to that, which where
Yes,
you
yes.
hated every single time you visit someone, they'll be like, "Ee, wakuya, very bad on us," and you don't want that. And what are
Yeah.
these things from your experiences and from when you've been teaching people?
Okay. Yes, there are a number of them, but bring your own toiletries, please.
Okay.
If bring your own toiletries, bring your own towel.
Mm,
Don't just pick a random one unless they are given to you. That these are our guest towels. But
mm,
not everyone can afford guest towels. So
mm.
move around with your own stuff. If you forget tough, use your t-shirt or something. Doesn't matter. Don't just pick a random towel in the bathroom and start using it. And then there are those visitors who always sound like they are coming from some government department or something. They ask awkward questions. When are you having another child? This one, no, this one is now older. You must have another one. Like they're
Oh
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
family
yeah,
planning department.
yeah.
Or did you buy this house? How are your papers here?
Oh,
Residence manager like they are from immigration department or deed office. Did you buy this house? Did you read? No, 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 no. No, it's
yeah.
a no. Stop asking awkward questions.
Wow.
The one specifically of children, it came out when I did a mini research. And
Mm,
the women who were raising it were actually women who were struggling to have children. But
okay.
we just ask these things without thinking.
Mm.
Sometimes people are actually trying and they just can't have children. So when you come there and you start putting no conditions, it hurts them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your
So
stay,
if
your stay will not be very comfortable.
yeah, yeah, and in any case, children are expensive. So if we don't want to have more than one child, that is our choice.
Yeah.
Are you going to be contributing to the university fees? No. So we have to be sensitive to those things. They look like they're minor, but they also just leave a bad experience
Mm.
around you, and that is not good.
Wow.
Remember what I said. You are a social being before you are all these other things that we are trying to achieve in life. So how you are experienced as a person it matters also. So we
Wow,
must be
that's
sensitive to that.
that is very, very important. You see, some of these things we do say them without knowing the implications.
Yeah, yeah,
So that actually shows how important it is to sort of learn these things, understand how to sort of interact with people. It doesn't
yeah,
necessarily have to be just when you visit somebody, but even when engaging with people on a daily, there are some of the questions that you need to ask, you know,
mm,
and some of the questions that you don't even need to be asking because of the sensitivity in nature that those questions would carry and what they would
mm,
do to a certain person or to that person whom you are actually speaking to. So it is very, very important for us to really understand that not all the conversations are welcome, even though they
yeah,
might sound like you are being too friendly to sort of
mm,
eat a conversation home. It's critical not to do those kinds of things. And thank you so much for teaching us in that area. And I know that if there are people that are listening to this and they've been doing this, they'll unlearn that because this is a
yeah,
program about learning and unlearning some of
yeah.
the
Mhm,
sort of manners that we might have inherited from somewhere. So that's brilliant. Any other thing that you'd like to sort of share with us in terms of mannerisms? Because I know that we've got um,
Uh,
you
our
know
time is running out.
our time,
Um,
our time is running out, but we should have almost about 10 minutes for us to sort of wind down.
okay, all right. So the other area is etiquette as we visit people in hospital. It could be
Mm,
your client, it could be your relative.
mm,
Once again, there are questions that you must not insist on.
mm,
In our families and I think if I count my cousins and my cousins' cousins and my in-laws, we probably have two doctors and three or four nurses in the
mm,
whole class.
mm.
But when we visit someone who is sick, we are all doctors and nurses. Somehow, I don't know what happens. We just
You just,
become doctors.
yeah. You just
You know,
become
you know
qualified.
those notes. Yeah, you know those notes that are at the bottom of the bed in like a folder or some sort of file or some sort.
Yes.
We all want to read them and understand what's going on. It's
Mm,
poor etiquette, very poor etiquette. Those notes are private and they should remain private. That's number one. Number two, when we go to visit these patients in hospital, if a patient tells you that my back is sore or my leg is sore,
go
accept
on.
it, believe it. Kwete kuti tuone, tuone, papi pake, papi pake, what is that? Aye, no.
This is interesting. That's it already.
No, once again, it's private.
Mm,
And then we have the those social media warriors who
mm,
want to take a picture of everything. You know,
mm.
my aunt's broken arm, my brother's broken leg. I know. If the
Don't do that.
patient has not asked you to take pictures because maybe they want to send it to their sons outside the country or away, please don't do that.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't do that. You have to ask for permission. And you know what? When you're in hospital, I mean, how glamorous will you be looking? No one wants
Yeah.
pictures
You
taken.
wouldn't look grammars, would you?
Yeah,
You
so
wouldn't.
normally, I think it's fair to just assume they would not want their pictures taken. And if
Mm,
they do, they will let me know. And then when they ask for your help, send my take pictures for my kids in New Zealand. Then you do that.
mm.
Not taking pictures before you know it. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Ah, yeah, I will. No.
I was in the hospital. My auntie's sick.
Yeah, it's poor etiquette. And then how it
Mm,
affects your business, I think you need to understand this links back to your professional world.
mm.
When employers these days, they want to get a feel of your character. They
True.
look at your social media handles.
True.
What are they showing?
Mm,
What story are you telling them? That you are excited about being at a funeral and taking pictures of the coffin?
mm.
What are you telling these people? So it says a lot about you. Your character is revealed by some of these things that we end up posting. So not only is it rude to the patient in hospital, it actually affects your personal life. So even for me, with only 5,000 rand to invest, if you come to me, I'll say, hey, work with some social media. No, I don't want to collaborate with you. I don't want to work with you. You never know what else you're going to be sharing. No, I don't
Exactly.
want my brand to be associated with some of the things that you share on social media.
Wow. Wow.
So it affects every area of our life.
You see, these are some of the things that we don't even see. And when we are doing it, we don't even understand, the reason why we are doing them. We get so excited and bogged down with what's going around on social media. And then on these streets, there's a lot of stories that are cropping up. Some of them, they don't have anything to do with us. But because we laughed at that story, we decided to share it, on our
Mm,
on our profile. And that
mm,
really hurts you a lot more than you understand, more than you know. So,
exactly.
one thing that you've touched on, you're looking for employment, and all of a sudden, you've applied for this nice job. They've accepted you. They think you're well qualified for that kind of job. All of a sudden, they just stumbled on your social media profile, and they find all these things that you're posting. That would actually make them think twice and maybe withdraw the offer.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
could be that maybe their business is all about anti-bullying, and you've posted something to do with bullying and you've been laughing in the comment section. So really,
mhm.
it's something that is very, very important to look into this. It's very, 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 very
Yeah.
critical
Let
that.
me let me just come in there and that, or maybe it's a bank or a financial service provider,
Hmm,
and they are busy sharing stuff that they feel this should be kept private.
hmm,
And they start to query, can can this person really not talk about Mr. Jones' account balance in public?
hmm,
Will we not start to hear it out there somewhere? It's a party,
hmm.
it's a function that's got nothing to do with the company. All those things, they just start coming in and they work against us.
Wow. No, Yaya Rudo, thank you so much. I think it's been action packed. I loved the conversation. I've learned a lot, and I'm going to unlearn quite a lot of stuff as well. Thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you a lot, and I'm sure that after this we're going to be doing maybe another, part two of this session. Hopefully, touching on time as well and other
Mhm.
elements that a lot of people would need to learn. But I wish you all the best. When the economy is opening up like this, I'm hoping that a lot of corporates would see the importance of etiquette in their businesses, and also as individuals as well. I think this is something that we need to learn. But it's only that it's unfortunate, but it's not, because we can still use internet, we can still use streaming media like this for you to be able to maybe speak to my some of the guys that I work with as well. They will learn a thing or two with regards to how to really look after the customers and stuff like that. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. All the
Thank
best.
you, Tendai, for having me.
Any parting words? Any parting words?
Ah, I think my last shot will be, the learning process does not end.
Mhm,
And I want to highlight the fact that with etiquette, awusungwi when you don't show manners.
mhm,
And etiquette is about the other person. In other words, if you lived on a mountain alone,
mhm.
there's no need for etiquette. But the moment someone comes onto that mountain, there is need to show etiquette. So while you will not be arrested for poor manners, it benefits you in the long term. When you show good manners, you are likable. People want to work with you. You look polished. You can be trusted. Hautyirwi kuti yo tendai ndiye ari kutimirira wakomana kuconference vakomana tichaonerera. No, people can rely on you and say, ah, no, it's okay. He can take it.
Mm.
because of just manners. So it comes back to you, even though you'll be doing it for other people.
Wow. Thank you. I would have actually clapped my hands, but I don't think it would be appropriate for me to do that. But I am clapping hands. I think that was a point that was hit home really. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the audience for watching with us, for staying with us, listening to this. I hope that you've gained something out of it, and I hope that you're going to also share with others this important lesson from Yaya Rudo. Now, I'll just show this information right at the bottom. Yaya Rudo also helps to write books. So if you've got ideas in terms of wanting to write a book, or there's something that you're struggling with, you can as well call Yaya Rudo to help you in that. Do you want to say something with regards to that? And then we close.
Yeah, just a quick one that I know there are people with good stories in their heads. Please
Mhm.
don't go to the grave with those stories. They must come out.
Yeah.
Add a book to your legacy by writing the story. If you are too busy, we write the story for you. So no more excuses.
Ah, awesome. Thank you so much. I think you've heard it for yourself. Thank you so much, Yaya. Have a very good night and
Same to you
God bless.
guys.
Thank you so much. And
Bye.
thanks, everybody. Bye bye.